Hi, everybody. Welcome into a life in motion. I'm just testing out different intros, y'all. But hi, everybody. Welcome in to Life in Motion. I'm happy to have you here with me this beautiful Thursday day. Hopefully it's beautiful. I actually don't know if it is because I'm recording this like a month in advance because I'm leaving for Europe soon. And so I wanted to just build up a bank of episodes to release as I go. And then once I get back, I'm going to get back to just doing one a week because honestly, y'all, it is hard trying to do these episodes so far in advance, not only because it takes a lot of time and editing and effort, but there are so many topics that I've wanted to talk about that are going on in my present life, but I'm recording these ahead of time. So for example, I wanted to do a Pride episode in June, but by the time it would be released, it would be July. So I was a little bummed about that. So when I get back from Europe, I'm going to be super happy that I get to, be more like in the moment with my recordings. So yeah, my name is Grace. Did I say that? My name is Grace Becker. I'm your host. So welcome in. Sit down, grab a drink. What do I have? I have a glass of wine, red wine. It is a French wine. I got it from the Bottle Barn where I live, and it's so good. I got it because I cooked a ribeye steak, mashed potatoes, green beans, and some bread for Jane and I the other night, and I wanted a glass of wine, red wine, to go with it. I'm a red wine kind of gal. I do like white wines as well, but I do think that red wines sometimes are more of an acquired taste, and I just love wine. So let's take a sip. It's definitely full body, dry wine. It goes really good with steak. It also goes really good with podcasting too. So here we are, everyone. Welcome in. So today I wanted to talk about friendship, more specifically toxic friendship, because I have been hearing a lot of friendships about a lot of them, and they're toxic, and I have also had my fair share hand in toxic friendships. So I feel both qualified due to personal experience and qualified due to professional experience to share this topic with you all today. So grab your drink, whatever it is you're having. Maybe you're like me and you're sipping some wine, or it's the morning for you, so you got your coffee, or it's the afternoon and you got your afternoon pick-me-up, Diet Coke. So grab whatever you have, get comfy, and let's tune in. So toxic friendship, y'all. For today's episode, I'm basically going to just go into the different ways that you can have a toxic friendship with a person, and then wrap it up by talking about ways that you can cope with this type of a friendship. Because it's one thing to know the signs, and it's another on how to actually go about managing it. So the first one, let's just dive right in, y'all. Okay, so the first one is emotional drain. If you have ever experienced feeling exhausted or anxious or just depleted, either in anticipation for or after having spent time with a certain person, y'all, that is a red flag that this is a toxic friendship. Because if you dread seeing another person, if you're feeling guilty about saying no to something that they want or that they're asking of you, then that's a depleting friendship. Because y'all, at the end of the day, a true friend is going to be there for you. Not just in the good, but also the ugly, and not just the ugly, but also the good. Because I mean, friends are meant to like be a support for you, to lift you up. Like if you're feeling down, you can go to them, they help you, support you, and they're there for you. If you're feeling really high, they're there to cheer you on, So if you just feel really, if you're feeling dread going to see them, or if you're feeling guilty after leaving an interaction with them, red flag, emotional drain. We don't welcome it around here, y'all. The other red flag in a toxic friendship is one-sidedness. So if the relationship tends to revolve around this other person's needs, this other person's problems, their drama, whatever they have going on, and there's never space given to you to talk about your side of things, then that is a red flag. If they're not asking, how are you doing? What's going on in your life? What, like, any struggles lately? And they're not, like, seeming to care. Or they do ask you, but then they don't actually follow up with what is happening and try to support you, validate you, or empathize with you. Then they really don't care, you guys. And it is exhausting being with a person like that, because what do you mean we're just going to talk about you? This is a relationship, and last time I checked, it takes 2 people minimum to make a relationship. So this is really just a therapy session. Because, like in my relationship with clients, it is one-sided, as it should be. I mean, of course, I'll use self-disclosure occasionally, very tastefully, with clients to make them feel more comfortable in my office. However, that is an example where it can be one-sided, as it should be, because I'm there, I'm being paid to listen, support, help, guide, do whatever for my client and their needs and their issues and whatever they've got going on. They're not doing that for me. But that is a professional relationship. We're not talking about that. We are talking about a friendship. And if you are never getting asked how you're doing, what's going on in your life by your friend, I think it's time to reevaluate that friend, air quotes. Yeah, we don't like one-sidedness around here. Another thing is if there is consistent criticism or judgment from a person. So, for example, if you have that type of friend where maybe they are very sarcastic with you, or they're very joking with you, and they're like, oh my God, like, don't take it so serious. It's just a joke. No, it's not just a joke, and I'm not laughing. It's not funny. Like sometimes people can take it too far. I mean, I have heard and I've had relationships, and I do this too sometimes, where I'm sarcastic with my friends and I'm joking. However, there is all a time and a place for that, and how you say it and what you're saying is very important. I know I've had people in my life say some things that hit a little too close to home, where I had to do a little bit of a double take. I'm like, whoa, like, did those words really form a sentence and come out of your mouth just now? Like that's a little too far. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to maybe poke some fun and, vibe with a friend and make the mood a little lighthearted. And it's another to pick on, put down, make a person feel like they're not good enough, or that they consistently need, you need their approval, in order to have that friendship, because that's not a true friendship. You know what I mean? You probably get enough of criticism and judgment from yourself. You do not need a friend adding to that, which leads me into the next red flag that can come up in toxic friendships, and that is manipulation and guilt tripping, or even gaslighting too. If a person is making you feel guilty for setting a boundary or prioritizing yourself, then that is manipulation, that is guilt tripping, that is gaslighting. Have you ever talked to a friend and maybe said something along the lines of, like, oh yeah, like I would love to see you. However, I have this going on. Do you think we could reschedule for another day? and all of a sudden they're trying to make you feel bad for prioritizing yourself or trying to set a boundary. Excuse me? And if as long as you're not doing it often, like if you are consistently canceling on them, rescheduling on them, I could see where maybe they would say something of, hey, I care about you and I want to see you, but you're canceling on me a lot. Okay, whatever. But if they're coming at it from all you do is cancel on me and reschedule on me and do all these things, you don't even want to be my friend, in order to make you feel guilty about taking some time for yourself, that is not a true friend. A true friend would say, yes, do it. Please take care of yourself. What do you need? Like, do you need me? Do you want me to drop off some food for you? Do you want to talk on the phone to someone about what you're going through? Like, what do you need? That is a mark of a true friend, as well as if they check in on you, A friend who texts you, calls you, maybe stops by and says, hey, like, drop this off for you. That is a mark of a really good friend, because they're putting in that effort even when you're not asking them, it's not something you have to force out of them. They just do it without hesitation. Then that is the mark of a good friend. The other thing that goes into this like manipulation, guilt tripping thing is if they twist situations to make themselves the victim or to control your decisions. When they try to gaslight you and twist it and make it about them. I've had friends like this before, where maybe I would go to them with an issue I had been having, and I'm not going to name any names, but I remember I had some friends where if I had a difficult time with the way that they were treating me, or if they weren't making time for me, or if they were not giving me the care that I know I deserve in a friendship, I would point it out to them. And I would point it out in a way where I was stating the facts of what was going on. I was sharing my feelings on the situation and then trying to express to them what I needed. And they would twist it into themselves of like how I'm not doing enough, how I'm not there for them, or how I'm too busy for them. And oh my gosh, it was so hard because I truly felt that I was 100% the problem. And the thing with, conflict is I cannot think of any situation, maybe give or take a few, where one person is 100% to blame. And even then, no. Even if it's like an affair, like it's not just the person who had the affair, but it's the other person they had the affair with too, So if your friend is coming to you and making you feel like you are the problem when originally you went to them expressing an issue that you were having, then that is a red flag. Because, okay, sure, are there things I could have done better with my friends? Absolutely. However, they were not able to take accountability for the way that they were treating me either. And I took up issue with that because one thing about me, I don't play when it comes to the people I care about and myself. I will not settle for anything more than what I deserve. And if you are not able, and this is another thing, if you are not able to come to me with an issue you have, then what you're not changing, you're choosing. Because if I've also had friendships like this where they maybe have an issue with me or a problem with me, something I've done, said, whatever, but they're not coming to me about it. And maybe they're talking behind my back to other people, other friends about me. And they're not coming to me saying, hey, I have this issue. Can we work on this? Oh my God, immediately I just want to write you off because what do you mean? If you have an issue with me, come to me about it because I can do something about it. This person that you're gossiping to about me can't do anything about it because they're not in our friendship. So that just really gets me heated because, y'all, I need a drink of my wine. Yeah, I don't play around with that. If you have an issue, please come to me. Of course, I know and I can recognize I make mistakes, and I have made many mistakes in friendships in the past. However, I choose to grow and learn from it. And there are some people who just choose to stay stuck and ignorant and repeat the same patterns that they have in the past. So no matter what anyone tries to do, no matter how they try to blame you, guilt you, manipulate you, just know that you deserve better than that. And if they can't give it to you, you have every right to set your boundary, to walk away, cut them off, whatever you need to do to take care of you. All right. That's enough of that one. Oh my gosh. Next one. If they're competitive or unsupportive. It is really easy to support someone who is at a low. When someone's at their weakest, it is pretty easy to just, be there and to say, oh my gosh, like, it's okay. Like, you didn't mean to do that, or you'll get them next time, or, all that sucks. And to be a support when somebody is in a low. However, if a friend can be there for you when you are at your top of your game, when you are succeeding in life, and they can be there for you and cheer you on, that is a good ass friend. However, because we're not talking about good ass friends, we're talking about toxic friends, they are going to make a competition out of it. Or they're going to downplay your success. If you have something really good happen, so say you have a job promotion or you get into a relationship, and maybe this friend is downplaying your success of like, oh, you just got in a relationship? Okay, well, we'll see how long that lasts. Or, oh, he's probably just going to break your heart like all the others. Or if you get a job promotion and they say, okay, so what is that? Like, you get a new title, but you don't get a new pay raise? Ugh, like, whatever then. You know what I'm saying? A person who downplays your success or tries to one-up you, they are not genuinely happy for you or there for you to see you grow and to, achieve in life. We want people who are going to be building blocks to get us to where we want to go. And if you don't have people in your life who can do that for you and you can do that for them, then they don't need to be in your life. Because that's the thing that these toxic friends don't realize is not only are you hoping that they're there for you and your success, but you're going to be there for them in their success too. And that is so much better than tearing each other down and making it a competition. But some people just don't see it that way. Some people are just incapable of feeling less than another for an achievement they made. And that's not on you. It's not your problem. That is their problem, 100%. Okay. The next one, disrespectful of boundaries. So I think I've said this in many podcasts before, but boundaries are about what you're going to do in response to someone crossing your line. So say, for example, you say to a friend, hey, I would really appreciate it if something's going on, and you have an issue with me, that you would come to me versus go talk to this other person and gossip about it. And they are not doing that. You can't control them. So you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do in response to that? And you do the thing, like say, maybe you stop talking to them and all of a sudden, they keep coming back to you and they're like, oh my God, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it again. And you, because you're a good person, you take them up on it, and then they go do it again and they keep crossing and crossing and crossing those boundaries and those lines. Disrespectful. It takes a real toll on our emotions, on our physical health, and our time. You could spend that time with somebody who actually will respect you. And if this is not the person for you, it's not the person for you. And another thing with that is if you have to over explain or defend a simple boundary. If you feel like something that you're requesting or that you are trying to set in place is simple and they just keep like going over it or needing you to explain it to them over and over and over again, might also be a sign of a toxic friendship. Just saying. And with that, the next one is a lack of accountability. I kind of dabbled in this a little bit earlier, but If a friend can take accountability, I'll say one of my really good friends who has been on the podcast before, her name's Taylor. We love Taylor. Her and I have gotten into disagreements, arguments, brawls, whatever that word is, before. And we have been able, for both of us, to take accountability for the things that we did. We were able to admit when we were wrong, apologize, and work through it. And our relationship and our friendship is stronger for it. However, if you are unlucky enough, you might encounter the rare, hopefully rare breed of a friend, gotta weed them out, y'all, who never apologize, is never able to admit when they've done something wrong, or every conflict becomes your fault. You're the person who's 100% wrong. It is time to let them go, because they are never going to take accountability, or they're never going to take full accountability. Or they're going to say, sorry, you just don't see it from my point of view. Like, what? That's not a real apology. You're saying, sorry, I don't get you. You're not apologizing for you. You're apologizing for me. That doesn't make any sense. So watch out for that, y'all. Watch out for those little things in people, because they will abuse that to the fullest. 10th power of the law type shit. Okay. Another thing is the gossip or betrayal. I've kind of talked about the gossip a little bit, but if a person is gossiping about you to others, making you wonder if they talked about you, chances are they probably have. If you have to guess it, or if you don't feel comfortable asking them about it, chances are they are. Okay? The other thing is betrayal. If you have a friend who has violated your trust by maybe, let's say, sharing vulnerable information that you shared with them to another person, and broken your trust to the point where you don't even know if you can trust them with vulnerable things about yourself and your life, toxic friend. And you deserve better than that. You really, really do. You don't deserve for your vulnerable information to be out there when you put trust in this person to keep it to themselves, to keep it between you and them. You go to this person openly and willingly, and they just toss that and discard that to the side? No. When my friends, when Taylor, Merritt, whoever, Jaden, when my friends tell me something and I know it's vulnerable, I am taking that shit to the grave with me. I am not sharing that with anybody else. So, yeah, if you have a friend doing that, let's reconsider that friendship, y'all. Okay. The last thing I would say that is a sign of a toxic friendship is inconsistency or flakiness. If you have a friend who is consistently unreliable, like you can't trust them to do things for you, or, they consistently don't show up for you. You make plans and they're consistently rescheduling or canceling. If you can't count on them, not just practically, but emotionally, then get out of it. Get out of that friendship, or set a boundary, because, whoa, toxic friendship alert. So those are some ways that, you might experience a toxic friendship. Now let's talk about how to go about managing this toxic friendship. So when you have a toxic friendship, you really have to ask yourself, what is it you want to do with this person? What offense have they done or caused? Is it an offense so grand, so great that you no longer want to be in this friendship? Or is it an offense where you think that you could bring it to them and that they could grow from, and your relationship could grow stronger from, Because sometimes a person may exhibit toxic traits, doesn't mean that you need to write them off completely. But the opposite can also be true, that a person may show some of these traits and you may bring it up to them and they are just not willing to change or to do anything different. Then you have to ask yourself that question of, what offense was done, and do I think that this person could grow from this? Or do I think that they would just regress and not grow? Once you have your answer, if it is applicable, I would say go to them and communicate of, hey, this is the fact of what has been going on. Once you say all the facts, and if you need to have evidence ready, if you think it'll be helpful, then you're going to share your feelings about it and say, I feel hurt. I feel vulnerable. I feel emotional. I feel untrusting. I feel whatever. And then go to them with your request. What do you need? Do you need them to show up for you more? Do you need to, maybe start slow again with what you share with them because maybe they betrayed you by going and spilling your secrets and gossiping about you? And if they're willing to work on those things and, maybe they work on it and things actually do start to get better, then that's great. That's amazing. Happy for you. If they don't, or if it's a friendship that you've decided the offense was too great, then that's when we need to maybe cut a person off. And depending, on your closeness with this person, or if you feel safe around them, you could do it different ways. You could send them a text. You could ghost them altogether. You could do an in-person friend breakup, whatever the case may be. And you honestly go about it the same way you would maybe break up with a partner. And you can do it where you sandwich it if you want. You could say like, hey, I really valued the time we have had together, or, hey, I can appreciate this aspect about you. Just maybe like if you want to, again, you have every right to just ghost this person as well if they've hurt you, or if you don't feel safe with them, you can do that. But you can start with kind of like something that's a little bit less hard to swallow. Like, I really value your ability to be there for whatever adventure I had for us. If I texted you and I wanted to go to this concert or I wanted to go on this trip, you were there. And I admire that about you. And lately, I feel that key language is I, because you're taking ownership. You're not trying to blame here. I feel betrayed because, and then you share the facts, because I shared this information with you, and then you went and you told this person. And to me, a friendship needs to be built on trust, on the ability to be vulnerable with them. It needs to be a two-sided relationship. It needs to be a relationship where we can celebrate each other's success rather than tear each other down. And so this is what I need. I need you to maybe talk to me, come to me if we have an issue, or come to me if you're confused about something I shared, rather than going and talking about it with other people. And you can do that. Or you could say, too much damage has been done. And so I think that we need to end this friendship. I wish the best for you. I hope I hope you can find what you're looking for in life, yada, 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 all those good things. So you can kind of like sandwich it in there. And, that typically is a good route to go, because at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't comfortable with being blunt of saying, hey, you really hurt me and this needs to be done. However, I am also here for that. You don't have to sandwich anything in. If this person really hurt you and you're not here for it and you're not going to stand for it, you have every right to say, hey, blank, the other day when you said this or you did this, it really hurt me. And to me, that's not a mark of a good friend. It's a mark of a toxic friend. So this is the end for us. This is where our friendship ends. If you want to say wish you the best, or if you don't, whatever, up to you. At the end of the day, you're going to have to be the person, like you listener, if you're ending a toxic friendship, you are going to have to, at the end of the day, live with however you chose to end this relationship. So if you want to have that peace of mind of knowing you were respectful up until the end, go for it. However, there are people in this life who don't care, and they're like, no, you messed with me, I'm gonna mess with you. Personally, I would not advocate for that tit for tat mentality. I would not advocate for the revenge mentality, because a lot of times it has made things worse for people, but it's not always the case, and not everyone, views it that way. So you know you best, you know the situation best, and like always, if you want a more personalized support in this, I recommend going to a therapist, going to a family member, a friend, a partner, someone you do trust that can help you, figure out how to navigate these situations. Because it is hard setting boundaries, and it is especially hard if it's with a friend, especially a close friend who you've known or you've shared a lot with. So take it one step at a time, get help if needed. And as always, you can email me, you can follow me on my social media and send me a DM if you want, my support in something, or if you, maybe you want to learn more on this topic. So yeah, y'all, I feel like I just wanted to rant there. I need another sip of my wine. Ooh. Yeah, that was dry. But those are some of the signs of a toxic friendship, and those are some ways to go about managing that conflict. If you liked what you heard today, please leave a review, leave 5 stars, share with people in your life. Maybe you could passively aggressively send this to a toxic friend. But if you made it this far in the episode, why don't we comment down below a little kissy emoji, a little like, mwah, a little smooch, because we're gonna kiss on the haters, kill them with kindness, right? That Selena Gomez song, kill him with kindness, kill him with kindness. That's what we're gonna do. But yeah, that's really what I have for you guys today. All my information's gonna be down in the show notes below. Thank you to Ben, my editor, for all of your support with the pod. I appreciate you, dude. But yeah, I upload episodes every Thursday, so make sure to stay tuned in to hear all about Life in Motion. But until next week, embrace the chaos and find the beauty. Bye!